BlackRock just said the quiet part out loud, confirming what I've been saying on this channel for months. We need to really deal with this, especially when it comes to Ripple and the tokenization revolution's links to the XRP system. That being said, welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. If you're new to the channel, you will become a subscriber by the end of this movie. That being said, let's start with the fact that Ripple wrote this post a few days after the Boston Consulting Group white paper on tokenization came out. We can see that the market for tokenized financial assets is growing quickly as more institutions accept them. In our new study with BCG, we look at key use cases, infrastructure needs, and the way to integrate institutions. As we speak, the tokenization tipping point is getting closer. The world's financial system is about to enter a new era, and tokenized assets are about to take off. Up to $19 trillion by 2033. I did read that study a little bit, and it's very detailed. It has a lot of useful knowledge in it. I believe everyone should go see it, since once more this is your money that is being spent. So definitely listen and learn more, because seeing these outlooks is very positive. But the most important thing to note is that tokenization is happening. It's getting faster and happening very quickly. The big players are also ready to join in. They're ready to start using tokenization and want to put all of their money into it. So right around the same time that this study came out, Bitcoin.com posted a big update about how much tokenization is really growing. Tokenized US Treasuries worth $4 billion are up 415% year over year, with $12.2 billion in TVL. Private credit is in first place. Bullshit 50 billion tokenized assets by the year 2025. This year I've heard a lot of talk about how much could be tokenized. At the moment we have tokenized about $20 billion worth of value, and we've heard that the number could be anywhere from $50 billion to $100 billion in 2025. Let's think about that, shall we? To grow from say 100 billion to 1 trillion, I think that will happen very, very quickly, because from nothing to $20 billion it seemed like it happened in an instant. Big players like BlackRock are linked to the tokenization push, which is why this is the case. Besides that, we also look at the big banks. A lot of people forget that Ripple has big banks, like HSBC, connected through their safekeeping platform. In the beginning this was Medico in 2023, but HSBC used it for tokenized stock offerings. It's crazy that this is one of the biggest banks in the world. They are really huge. They have 5.6 trillion back in 2023, so they do have assets in their care. That's crazy. 6.8 quadrillion won is a huge amount of money. There are also plans for all the big banks to offer regular chartered right back in 2023, which is pretty interesting. They had their Zodiac custody become part of Ripple's medical platform. It is now just called Ripple Custody. Once more, this had to do with big players in the market using storage and payment solutions for anything tokenized, including digital goods and valuable things that have been tokenized. Ripple has been behind this since the beginning. When we really think about it, we can now see that paying off as a lot of big moves are taking place. Now that we're talking more about Zodiac custody, big shots are Kahneman's rage, because this is where a lot of the hidden links to things like Securitize really become real. So does this mean that BlackRock has teamed up with Ripple and is ready to use XRP and the XRPL? Not really. No. But this does give us a little more information about some links that go back to BlackRock. These connections could lead to, say, a partnership or some kind of announcement. But let's look into this anyway, no matter what. So the link Zodiac Standard Chartered said it is now a securitized custody provider. BlackRock's partner in tokenization is Securitize. Zodiac works with Ripple Custody and Medico. Securitize was an investment in Ripple that said the XRP system could be used to create tokens. On top of that, keep in mind that Zodiac Custody can be used for both storage and payment. But we also have this down here. What does it all mean? As of now, Securitize isn't using the XRP platform for BlackRock. However, compared to the early days of payments, they seem to be getting a bigger share of this market with bigger players, which is very exciting. Also, yes, I agree with this 100%. We also need to look at the most recent purchase, which I believe is a major one. Still, Brad Garlinghouse did give BlackRock a hint that they might be able to use, hidden road through Ripple. Look at this. We paid 1.2 billion yen for what's called a prime broker when we bought Hidden Road this week. This lets even bigger banks like BlackRock and the biggest Wall Street banks get into the market in a way that makes sense to them, with a safer prime broker to help clear trades and a bigger balance sheet to do that. It's good for the whole business world. So once more, the way he put that does sound very interesting. There are a lot of other names that could have been used instead of BlackRock. BlackRock is the one he talks about. Also keep in mind that BlackRock and even Brad Garlinghouse, Larry Fink and Brad Garlinghouse could not talk about BlackRock possibly having an XRP ETF. The big question is why. One possible reason is a conflict of interest. Also thanks to Bank XRP for this clip. We don't know why they couldn't talk about it. But I'm talking about all of this because CNBC just said that tokenization is now commonplace. I even said that we are no longer just talking about it. It is becoming real right in front of us. Now BlackRock raises the alarm on tokenization for real. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink says that the market for everything from stocks to bonds to real estate will soon be tokenized. If we can just fix one thing. The main points are now written down. We have Larry Fink, CEO of BlackRock and the biggest money manager in the world. He wants all assets like stocks, bonds, real estate and more to be able to be traded online on a blockchain. Says that this idea of tokenization would change the way people own and spend money. But digital proof is a big problem that needs to be solved before that can happen. We already know that BlackRock has been pushing digital IDs for a long time, so this is pretty cool. I also believe that all of this is part of the main plan. It has been on our minds. Yeah, we've been taking care of it. Is it looking good for us? Not really. Digital IDs are not something I support, and I've said that more than once, and it's also possible to track and trace over DLTs. But this is really what's going on. In other words, we have to accept that the biggest people are making this happen. They are speeding it up in any way possible. And I do think that the trade war and talks about tariffs are really speeding up the push on digital tools, which is what's causing this. But no matter what, we do have Larry Fink's dream come true. All assets including stocks, bonds, real estate and more would be able to be traded online on a blockchain. Fink is the CEO of BlackRock, the biggest money manager in the world. Tokens can be used for anything. This is what Fink wrote in his most recent letter to investors every year. Also, I mean, BlackRock has been putting everything they have into tokenization. They've been talking about how big tokenization will really be. Again, I'm not excited about what they're trying to do with digital IDs, and it's always like, oh, there's a big problem here. AI makes fakes. We can believe everything if we have that digital ID. It seems pretty funny, right? We know that there's always some kind of problem that needs to be talked about so that we can find a solution. In this case, the answer has already been found. No, it's not paper IDs. You need to make sure that you're KYC and all of that. It's just very interesting to me. But no matter what, we do know that BlackRock has been all for tokenizing everything. They've been chatting about it for about 3 years now. But this is a big statement, especially coming from one of the biggest mainstream news outlets, CNBC. This comes at a time when BlackRock